I think it's important to have. So right here we start with the readiness checklist. It's just kind of a way for you to take stock of what's in your house and some of the things that you might want to consider having on hand. So, like, how many books about plants or herbalism do you have? How many plants do you have growing in your yard or your garden or around your home? And then how many plants can you identify in your home or neighborhood? It's just kind of like a little fun inventory of some of your knowledge. And then you can actually use the drop down here of like, do you have a place in your home to keep plants and remedies? Yes. Do you have any vegetable glycerin on hand? No. Or if you've ordered it. And then over the, throughout the year, through for the years to come, you can just kind of come back here and think, oh yeah, I need to order some more of this, or do I have any cheesecloth in the house for straining for something, for salves and things like that. It's just a little fun little checklist. And then you can add here if you want to of different supplies you like to keep on hand. Blank labels, place to dry your herbs. Do you have scissors for harvesting or a knife for harvesting? Maybe you don't harvest anything, so that's just not a question that you can do. And then we go into kind of like exploring your story. These are more of like journaling pages of questions of how to. These I think are important for people when if they have any like fear about learning herbs, or what I call mindset blocks, like things that keep you from doing it. And so these are just ways to explore that, and just kind of get some of those little thoughts and feelings out. All right, so there's like 6 pages of that exploring part. And again, I describe what that all is about in the workbook too. So you can see there's 122 pages. Here's some goal setting sheets that you can have about just trying to set some goals about what you want to work towards, and about learning herbalism. And some more of those. Study preferences, getting you to think about like what times of days of the week that you like to study that seem to be easier for you, your preferred way of studying, preferred length of study. Because sometimes I would sit down to do a study session and I'm like, this isn't working. Why can't I just focus? And it could have been just something in that setting. So then here is your study tracking sheet for learning herbalism. You can put your activity in, such as listened to a podcast and what plants that you listened to, what you learned about there. Let's just put mints, and then you can put the date and then the hours. I found this I needed to use when I was studying for herbalism, because I had to show my teacher how much I was studying and what I was doing, and we had to have certain hours in certain categories. But it also helps kind of motivate you to just show you how much you are studying, and even if you're gardening or whatever, you can put all that in there. A place to keep track of herbal definitions that you're learning, especially ones, there's certain definitions that I kind of have a hard time remembering over and over. So if I put it in a place that I'm going to find, that's good. And then you can start to keep a list of sources for books and herbalists that you like, or that you want to meet, or that you want to take classes on, companies, organizations, websites that you use frequently. I also give you my list of kind of the top 10 things that I like to go to. A place to keep your herbal recipes that you find or that you make. Notes, just a fun notes page. The plant profile, I go through in the description in the workbook about why each section of the plant profile is important. And it's also a nice way of just being able to focus on certain tasks, and instead of writing a book about each plant, because that's what I was doing at first. Your personal health assessment and how that can help you focus on which herbs to study rather than just having like a million herbs that you want to focus on. A list of herbal actions. Again, these are all fillable in the electronic version, not in the print version, obviously. And herbal indications. So, for example, an herbal indication would be if you have itchy skin, you put the indication of itchy skin there. And what are some of the common plants and herbs that you know of or that you're learning that can be used for itchy skin? and then you always have a list here of things you can go back to. Herbal applications checklist is just a checklist of things like, hey, have I ever made an herbal tea? Yep, I've made it. I'm supposed to say I make it, or I've used it. There's some things like nourishing infusions. Like if you find I don't really like nourishing infusions, you can say I've used it, and then move on from there. It's just a list of many things that you can try over time try making or just try physically, and just try that. And there is a new worksheet that I've made that's not in this, but when you buy the ebook, I will give you access to that. I'll send that to you, and then also in the printed workbook, it's in there. So that is, in a nutshell, what the workbook looks like. Let me go all the way to the top so you can see what the instructions look like. So I give definitions and instructions and pictures, some information on plant identification, and just nice tutorial. All the worksheets are also included up in the text just because it's easier to describe what that looks like and how to use it. Those ones are not fillable electronically, but I wanted it to be easy, so rather than when I'm describing something of how to use a worksheet, rather than you having to jump back to the bottom of the document to find out which worksheet I'm talking about, you can actually see right away which one I'm talking about. And then I had them included on the bottom because that way it's easier for you to find them and print them if you want to. And then I also give you access on a little work or website or web page that I have so that you can download these individually so that you don't have to, once you fill this one in, you're going to want probably another worksheet to put in a different herbal action. So that I give you access so that you can just save as. If you just go file save as, then you'll always have that worksheet looking with a certain action rather than just like not having another electronic file to do that. So, like I said, you get access to this, and I give you a new worksheet that I have and a web page that gives you access to the electronic files separately. So that's what the Learning Herbalism workbook looks like on electronic version. Thanks for joining me. I'm at fullcircleherbals.com.